Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, we'll be discussing the 1983 film, The Right Stuff. So I have John Glenn, you have Dennis Quaid, you have who was in this movie, to tell you the truth. But this movie it's about the early days of the NASA space program. It details the years from 1947 to 1962. So of course this was way before, like 7 years before you had, the so-called moon landing. The reason why I say so-called moon landing is because there was a lot of people out there who think the moon landing was fake. So that's why I threw that in there. But this movie ends about like 7 years before you had the moon landing. So this is like way before the moon landing stuff. So you had, of course, the early years trying to get the first man into space, even though Russia did beat the United States out in getting a man, to orbit the Earth. But the United States was second, and they had men around orbiting the Earth a lot longer. But of course, they also had all the problems, which they did go into in this movie in terms of the training program, how they originally the 7 astronauts was picked, like Gus Grissom, John Glenn. I always said Scott Glenn. I said John Glenn. It would have been funny if Scott Glenn, the actor, played John Glenn. I mean, it would have been really funny, but unfortunately they didn't do that in this movie. To go into space, how the training. Originally they were just figureheads. Originally they were going to send monkeys out into space and have the men as figureheads. But of course the astronauts actually protested that and said, we're going out in outer space because we want to beat the Russians out. Fortunately, of course, that didn't happen, but they did go to orbit, and they had one bit where a guy was supposed to orbit like 7 times around the Earth, and that didn't happen because it was a technical issue. They had to come in earlier after 3 times orbiting 3 times around the Earth. But as one of Dennis Quaid's character, he orbited the Earth for about a week, or a week or 7 times around the Earth, something like that. And he was the last one of the original 7 astronauts to go into outer space. And so he was getting impatient because he felt he should have been the first one to go into outer space. And because he was such a smart ass for the home. Dennis Quaid always plays the smart asses in his movies, but he was more of a smart ass in this role, and he after this movie he got typecast as being a smart ass in his movies. So he didn't go to orbiting the Earth. So like he was the last one to do it. So he got a little bent out of shape, but he rubbed it into everybody else. I was up in outer space longer than any of you guys. So he had a little sticking to each other a lot in this movie between the 7 astronauts. But in terms of the movie, it is a long movie, and it's just over 3 hours, about 3 hours and 10 minutes, or 3 hours 15 minutes thereabouts, and it is a long movie to sift through. But it's worth telling the story. It takes a long time to tell the story, and of the original 7 Mercury astronauts. That's basically what this movie is about, folks. And it does take a long time to get through it, and it's worth it because especially you didn't have CGI back then, folks. So all it was like standard special effects for that time in 1983. So the special effects really was something. The musical score by Bill Conti, of course, who made the musical scores for Rocky and the Karate Kid films. So you have A-list talent in this movie. Plus, you also have a cameo by Chuck Yeager, because the story of the movie is about Chuck Yeager bringing the sound barrier. And then pretty much the rest of the movie is about how NASA got started and how they moved from Florida, Cape Canaveral, Florida, to Houston, Texas. And there have been a lot of the astronauts been on a ship because they had to move to literally halfway across the country to Texas, where they're all we're in Florida. Everything's convenient more convenient in Florida than it is in Texas. But they moved over there. But I know I'm rambling on here because there's not really that much to say about The Right Stuff. It is a good movie. It has A-list talent, but it is a pretty slow moving movie though, because it is just over 3 hours, like I mentioned earlier. So they had to pad out the story a little bit. But of course, the funniest part is, of course, all the shenanigans that goes on with all the testing, all the physical training, all the astronauts going. I mean that was really, that part of this movie is what is spoofed all over the place. It was spoofed in The Simpsons. It was spoofed in other movies like Armageddon, for example. They spoofed a lot of the stuff that they did in The Right Stuff, and all the training montages and all that type of thing was spoofed. And so many other movies and television shows, like I mentioned, The Simpsons, the movie Armageddon, they spoofed it, and it's kind of fun to not only spoof that, but also spoof the musical score. The scene was just after when the Russians sent a guy into outer space, and so the astronauts got a little ticked off. So now let's do our thing, rah America, USA stuff, and they walk down this corridor wearing the spacesuits, and you hear the musical score by Bill Conti, and that was one of the most iconic moments in this movie, when you see the astronauts in the full space gear walking down this corridor. That's one of the most iconic moments in this movie, and I think that's the one scene where everybody remembers from this movie is that moment. But the movie itself, it's very, very good, even though it's a long movie to sit through, but it's well worth watching, especially if you like movies that's based on true stories. Of course, one of my pet peeves is that how accurate is this story? Who the heck knows? But it is entertaining for what it is, because you have A-list talent, an A-list cast, an A-list score, and of course the editing that went through this movie is really, really top-notch stuff. And of course, the movie that beat this movie out for Best Picture was, I think, Terms of Endearment. Beat this movie out for Best Picture. So there you go, folks. And yeah, maybe because it was too pro-American stuff for the Oscar voters that year, I guess. But the movie, like I said, the movie's worth watching, especially if you want to know about the space program. So there's my review of the movie The Right Stuff. Please click on the video, please rate it. Feel free to please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. And check out all my reviews and on my YouTube channel at RowdyC.com, so WDY.C.com. There's no page on reviewer Christine Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.